Hello? I'm back, guys. I guess, I think. Feels like it's been a really long time since I posted a video about anything ever. Probably because we're still in lockdown, I'm still working, and have no money. And being in lockdown for this long, it's sort of it's killed me on the inside. While in isolation for yet another year, my brain decided to pick up the hobby of film photography. I am a proud mama of the Yashica MF2, which honestly is just a notch higher to a disposable camera, and the Canon A1, which I have appropriately named the Sauce. I would have named it Nick Cannon, but the camera is actually black in color, and that would have come off as quite racist, so I opted out of that. I sold an arm and a leg and also decided to buy a few rolls of film, but before actually spending and burning on Portra 400, I decided to test my camera on a couple of expired Fuji C200 rolls to see if I could pass the test of anything. So I recently got my expired film scans back from the lab, so shout out to Sunny 16 Lab based in QC. I figured it'd be nice to take you along with me on this journey to show you the dumpster fire that are my test roll shots. At the time of shooting this first one, I was actually en route to an eye exam in Rockwell, and I brought the camera with me because it was quite small and convenient. I took the shot out the window of the car I was in, and to be honest, I'm not even sure why I took it. It's quite a basic photo because everybody takes photos of cityscapes in Manila, but I suppose it'd been a while since I'd gone outside and buildings were just quite fascinating to me, so I shot it to capture the memory and ingrain it into my brain. This bird's eye view of Rockwell, I took this in the bathroom of the clinic I was in. They had a floor-to-ceiling window of Hidalgo Street, I think that's Hidalgo Street, and I felt compelled to snap at it because what is the outdoors these days, you know what I mean? Again, there seems to be a bit of a brownish haze, which I would like to think is from my camera lens, but I would also think it'd be from the overcast that day because it was pretty gloomy. And I was shooting on 200 speed film, which was not necessarily the best move. I mean, live and learn, am I right? Cutting to a few days later, that weekend I suppose, I went out to my grandpa's house for lunch and took a few shots around his yard. Starting with this one, this is the alleged entryway leading to the front door, which was cropped as hell because for some reason that's how it was sent back to me from the lab. I'm assuming it was just really bad. The lab tech was just like, I'm not going to include everything because it might be too painful to the eyes. So I'm left with this. I remember shooting it with the flash on because it was, yet again, a pretty gloomy day here in Manila, and I'm pretty sure none of the details would have shown had I not turned the flash on. I would have loved to see the potential of this shot, but I guess we'll never know. So, thank you, lab technician who had handled my shots that day for cropping it. I mean, he could have saved the foliage. I think those turned out somewhat alright. I took this shot mainly for the cute cat perched on the ledge, though the shot seemed a lot cleaner in my head, especially with the trees framing the little guy in the distance, but I was working with fixed lens and fixed aperture, so objects were definitely a lot farther than they appeared to be. And I don't know, it's just really murky. You don't even see the cat. The greens look okay, I guess. Way too much vignetting. I really think it's the lens, but what can you do? At least the cat appreciated his moment of fame for like 5 seconds or so. I saw an abandoned set of chairs and a table in my grandpa's garage, and I took it because it looked quite nice at the time, especially in front of a bunch of shrubs. I think it turned out alright, more for the sake of the shrubs. In hindsight, I wish I hadn't cropped the chair's legs, but I do like how the bushes kind of, I don't know, contrast against the wall. And the abandoned table set, Definitely a perfect depiction of how I was abandoned at the grocery store checkout for about 90 seconds because my mom forgot to get potatoes. It's pretty friggin' traumatizing, Mom. I was only 26. Like all basic photography bitches, if you see an abandoned car, you best believe you take photos of it. I ain't a huge fan of Fuji's green tones, but it really brought out the color of the foliage around the car, and it seems pretty damn fire. The overcast we had that day also brought in this very end of the world mood, as if we hadn't been facing a pandemic these past 2 years. Between the two, the vertical shot of the car cropped at the front was kind of my favorite. I think the way the bushes and vines frame the car make it look even more neglected than my long list of chores that I have yet to accomplish today. I took this shot of my plants thinking it would turn out as exposed as it looked in real life, but obviously it isn't. It turned out a lot darker than I'd imagined, and to be fair, even if it wasn't what I was expecting, it still turned out okay. I like the mood this one gives. Kinda hazy, kinda dark and evil, somewhat sinister. Yeah, so this shot, this is what a migraine looks like. My camera apparently has this double exposure knob where you can pause the same frame for a second shot, so I decided to test it, but my final brain cell truly believed at the time that the window and my desk meshed together would create some harmonious joy and have this artistic masterpiece, which ended up really just looking like shit, but at least now I know the exposure setting works. This is a picture of me obviously having an anxiety attack while taking a mirror selfie. The blurriness in this photo is just immaculate. Chef's kiss. Perfect. Here are a couple more test shots of the outside from the inside. And as I was taking these photos, I realized that the world was eventually turning this beautiful piss gold, so I decided to head downstairs and risk my life outside for the art. I took this shot of the courtyard at the back of our apartment complex. I guess I'm a simp for light streaks because light was literally just streaking across the grass and the trees, and I really thought this was gonna be a fire shot, but I mean, it could have been a lot worse. I walked a bit further past the courtyard and turned a corner, and I found a playground that had obviously been abandoned since April 2020. I kind of like the loneliness and the softness of these shots. Now, to the left of that playground was the face of the apartment building, and I took this shot. Honestly, I don't even know why, but I guess I was really hooked on those shadows, and to be fair, they look kind of cool had I only just cropped this in, maybe like a 1x1 format, but I don't want to say I wasted my shot on this, but I don't really see much of a thrill about it either. On the way back to the front of the complex, I actually walked past the community swimming pool. Our buildings are painted this tan-ish color, kind of khaki, kind of sandy, but with the bright blue coming from the pool, it made it seem a lot more pastel to the eyes. And yet again, swimming pools do seem to be part of the Basic Bitch film photography starter pack. I think out of all the shots I took of the pool, this one ended up being my favorite. The light kind of just peering from the side of the clubhouse was just doing things to my heart. And if I hadn't told you this was shot here in Manila, these could have passed for a retro hotel in Miami or something. I think after going through these test rolls, my one key takeaway from all this is to never let me near 200 speed film ever again. Ever. I mean, one could blame it on the shutter speed, one could blame it on the time of day, you could blame it on the alcohol. I can honestly just blame this on myself. The test rolls were a testament to how spoiled my eyes are, honestly, and the way I view my surroundings through the lens of a digital camera. I mean, autofocus, auto brightness, and auto everything has taken away the thrill, the challenge, and I guess the art really of photography. And though digital cameras and digital phones have given us that convenience, it's unfortunately also given us laziness. I know analog isn't really for everybody, and that's totally fine, but it is kind of nice to step back from what's modern and convenient and to experience and enjoy a slower, more thought-provoking pace. And it's one that reminds us to be more mindful of what we do, to be more careful of the shots we take, because quality really is much better than quantity.